Chapter 5, Sistenan. Far from the smoldering tensions of the north, in the isolated South Sands, an out-of-breath scout, barely out of boyhood, trembled as he stood at Sistenan's doorstep at the highest ridge in Hidden Valley. He'd climbed 4,230 narrow steps so quickly his hood had come down and he hadn't noticed, exposing his thin skin to sun's blaze. But news like this was more important than a sunburn. "Mappers," he sputtered, wiping away sweaty streams running down his red dirt-stained face. "Mappers," he repeated when she did not respond. "Those fuckers," Sistenan muttered, knowing exactly what was at stake. Mapping the South Sands wasn't just defiance. It was a declaration of war. It was the first shot fired that could tumble them back to the dangerous times before the peace compact. "How many?" she asked. "2. At least." "Where?" "Mirror Lake." "Transport?" "Eridorn." "They'll probably rest in Eden," Sistenan muttered, for her own benefit more than the boys'. Eridorns were slower than Hidden Valley's Myruxen and couldn't glide, but they could still travel 500 paces a day. "Eden will get them," the boy said, finally catching his breath. The innocence of youth. Yes, Eden was a formidable trap, one that no northerner had survived. Yet, he would learn, as she had, that every defense has some weakness that goes unnoticed until it doesn't. But it wasn't just the presence of the mappers that unsettled Sistenan. It was the timing. Everyone knew that the South Sands took the month leading up to the World Fair to choose which daughters to send, their pledges, and to make arrangements for their matches. All the families returned from foraging and hunting to their mothers' homes in the individual territories during this time. It also came on the heels of the ambiguous message from the Isle that Abilene would not join them to ratify the pledges. She was their voice on the Isle, their advocate. A rumor of illness had swirled down on the back of a wind, and Sistenan worried. If Abilene died, the ramifications were clear. If Abilene was sick, uncertainty was even more dangerous. A species on the brink of extinction was truly unpredictable. A species as powerful as the gods being unpredictable was bad for everyone, even for those on the gods' side. Since the 426 Peace Compact, the South Sands petitioned for an isolationist policy that the gods agreed to enforce. No northerners were allowed south of the Qerum River without protectorate notification and approval. Crudely called the Peace for Pussy Pact by those who saw pledged daughters as nothing more than bargaining tools, advocates saw the agreement as an end to the illegal kidnapping, selling, and ultimate slavery of the Alsaba girls. By matching 10 girls, 2 from each kingdom of the South Sands, to males from other regions, the South Sands secured safety, trade, and survival. 2 of Sistenan's daughters had already been matched. She hoped her last daughter, Wren, would be allowed to stay in the village and pledge to an Alsaba boy. If the stars saw fit, Wren's dark complexion would be enough to stymie the allure of her pure old blood. "I'll notify the others. Pull up your hood, stop at your mother's, and return to your post." Sistenan sat at her desk and produced 4 identical messages. Strangers spotted south of Qerum. Defenses up. She attached each note to a separate messenger and sent them flying to the other kingdoms. Then she turned the safety gauge to danger. In every Hidden Valley home, a tremor pulsed, which reverberated through the valley floor below to ensure anyone who had left their home on assignment returned at once. If the strangers made it through Eden, somehow, they would be at the base of Hidden Valley by dawn. With any luck, they wouldn't stop and wouldn't look up. If the defenses held, Hidden Valley would remain hidden, and that would at least be one less worry.